So glad you're with us. Thank you for being here. And again, if you're watching on the AFA channel, that's a shot of Midtown. You've got the Empire State Building poking up there in the middle, kind of famously. And that's from one of our HD cams here in New York City. We're so glad that you're with us. Kevin McCullough, glad to be with you each weekday. And we're discussing what I think is going to be kind of a telling new round of a plan of attack to shut down people's rights to say certain things, to think certain things, to allow to be heard on things that they believe or understand. And it's coming. It's not it's not being disguised anymore. It's just out in the open. We're just doing this now just because people simply disagree with us. There was a student at McGill University that was forced into issuing a formal apology and actually saying that what he did was wrong because he emailed a picture that was used on the Jay Leno Tonight Show last fall. And it's from a YouTube video. Everybody in the control room said they've seen it and that it's hilarious. But when it shows President Obama giving a press conference, he gets all done, he walks off, he kicks the door down, and the implication is he's tired of putting up with these press conferences. Now, I don't know any president, to be honest with you, I don't know any president that's ever served that probably hasn't felt that way. That's probably a humorous sketch based on a lot of reality. Most presidents probably get sick and tired of their press conferences. But because they used a freeze frame of this, of the guy, President Obama didn't actually kick the door in, it was manipulated so his head was on a body of somebody that did, and it's made to look like he kicked it in. But it was entirely designed to be humorous from the beginning. This student sent it out because it was funny. He's been forced to apologize, and he was made to do that because another student said that this demonstrated racial microaggression against black people. 888-589-8840. I don't know what you think about that, but I'm interested in finding out. So let's talk to George in Missouri to get things started. Hi, George. Welcome.
Hey, Kevin, how you doing? Thanks for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Maybe President Obama needs to work in the construction industry and get a handle on life because they play practical jokes all the time. I was in there, and I did the panda dance, and a black kid got me on one of his 3G phones before I retired. And it was so funny. I asked him, I got to look at it. He goes, I'm going to put this on the Internet. And I was like, I don't care. I says, dude, I'm going to retire. It'll be funny. You know, maybe the president needs to grow up and get if he worked construction, he'd be one.
Well, let me be clear here, George. Let me be clear. The president is not complaining about this. It's the other student that is claiming racial bias and other things. I don't even know if the president's aware of this particular story.
Well, I wasn't mad at this black kid that did it, and I didn't care. You know, but the point of it is like, wow, you know, really? You get go work on a construction site, see what it's like there. It's like they get up for break time. It's like, well, let's cut somebody's throat. And then when it goes for lunch, they have another party. It's not a party, but, you know, like they'll put water on a bucket, and then you'll sit in it, and everybody will laugh. And the guy there has to work with wet pants all day. Come on, these people need to get over it.
All right, George, thank you for the call. Appreciate it. 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. Let's go to Texas next because Kenneth is patiently holding. Hi, Kenneth. Welcome. You're on with Kevin McCullough. So glad you're with us.
Yeah, Kenneth. Kenneth. Yeah. Kevin, you know what? I wanted to thank you, first of all, before I talk about the other thing, but I noticed that you had a special day on Sunday for your family, and I want to thank you for that and praise you for that because I think a lot more Americans, men in head of households need to do that, make that a special day. But so I wanted to, and plus I listen to your show every day. But anyway,
thank
about
you,
the
sir.
microaggression thing, you know, I'll tell you what I really believe it's a strategy because you know you didn't really hear too much about this stuff before Obama took office. And I've been accused so many times of being a racist just because I want to talk about his policies. But if I mention his name, I'm a racist. And you know what? I take issue with these people, and I argue with them all the time. And I really think it's a strategy because Hitler did the same thing. He divided the country. It was a strategy that he used, and I really believe behind, his ultimatum is to divide the country racially, and that's what he's been doing. And he's got a lot of people backing him up on that, and it's a strategy that's very subtle, but it's also very prominent, and you're seeing it now with this microaggression type things.
All right, Kenneth, I appreciate the call, 888, and your kind words especially. Thank you so much, 888-589-8840. Let's talk to Coffee, calling from Arizona. Love that name, especially early in the morning. Hi, Coffee, welcome.
You betcha. That's the best part of waking up. I'm in Arkansas, by the way, not Arizona.
Right. Oh, sorry about that.
Anyhow, this microaggression thing, I'm wondering, do we get in trouble now for making fun of people like Mel Tillis, for instance, who stuttered when he talked but sang beautifully?
Whataburger?
Well, exactly. And my other comment was, if this was back in place back in the late 40s, for instance, Herb Block was a political cartoonist who picked fun at Harry Truman like you wouldn't believe. And I'm just wondering, he would probably still be buried up under the jail.
Well, Coffee, you're bringing up some good points, and I got to think, there was a lot of political fun poking done at the man who was president just before President Obama, and you didn't hear people that supported President Bush talking about microaggression and people that hate whiteys and all the rest of the. I mean, there was none of that. Don't you think if you're the president of the United States, and I'm just going freeform here, don't you think there's a slight chance that someone's not going to agree with everything that you do, and that they're gonna say something about it, and they're gonna make up reasons why it's okay to make fun of it? And isn't that just part of the territory? When did it become so necessary for us to say, "Dear leader, will have no criticism whatsoever"? Why are we at that point? I think one of the most post-racial things you can do is poke fun at something about President Obama, because we poked fun at every other president before him, and if suddenly you had a poke fun free zone where there was no poking fun at him, then you would be setting yourself up for the argument that you're treating him differently than you treated everybody else that came along, instead of equally, instead of treating him just as you treated all the others. You're somehow, I don't know, pandering to him, or you're going easy on him, think he's not strong enough to be able to handle the criticism, or there's any number of ways you could phrase that. But wouldn't it be more racially telling if this president had no criticism and everyone only spoke praises to him and of him at all times? Wouldn't that be more racially telling about where the country was at? Think minimal expectations about who he is and what he can handle? 888-589-8840. That's why I don't get this. Let's talk to Michael in West Virginia. Hi, Michael. You're up next with Kevin McCullough. So glad you're here.
Hi, Michael.
You're Michael. I'm Kevin. Good to have you.
Hi, Kevin. Thanks for having me on.
Sure.
I was going to comment when you said the 51% would imprison the rest of us. We're being imprisoned by 1%. How many atheists are there? What's the percentage? But they have put us in prison where we can't pray in public anymore. What's the percentage of homosexuals?
Well, wait a minute. What do you mean you can't pray in public?
I mean, well, what I'm saying is they make it a crime.
To pray in public?
We can't express ourselves in religion around an atheist because it offends them.
I see that happen in New York all the time. I don't know what you're talking about. You mean like you're just sitting in the park and you're praying and some atheist comes up and like whacks you because you're like, hey, that offends me?
Well, no one whacks you. You get taken to court because they're offended.
Yeah, I don't know that we've arrived at that point yet.
Well, they've taken it out of school. You can't have it in at a football game.
Hey, let me tell you something about that, Michael. This is kind of funny. They won't let the kids pray officially in school, but I know a lot of kids that are praying in school.
Well, certainly. But
And they're not going to jail.
But it's less than 51% is causing the problem. It's less than 51% that are pushing micro
aggression. Yeah. I do see your point, and I do think that we have come a long way, and we've slipped a lot farther down the public tolerance level of some of this stuff. I mean, there's almost a bulletproof shield around Obama now in terms of like any type of rhetorical, like you just can't disagree with him and have any kind of access or respect or anything else. There's this secret mafia that, you know, people decided, okay, we're just gonna blanket him and he's gonna be bulletproof on all this stuff. Where there's no criticism coming his way, and that's what this one student's doing. She's acting that out. She's saying, no, that student sent out that picture and it was disrespectful of him. Not that it was funny or that, you know, any of the rest of it. Let's go to, and by the way, if you disagree, I put you to the front of the line. Let's go to Neil in Indiana. Hi, Neil. Welcome. You're on with Calvin McCullough. So glad you're here.
Hi, Kevin. I really enjoy your show, but this time I totally disagree with you.
Okay.
And the reason for that is we're talking about a student in Canada. I think we're falling into the trap, and we're telling people to fall into the trap that we want to impose international law on Americans. So I don't think we have any say-so what Canada does to their people. When it falls into America, and I believe it is falling into America, but when it falls into our laps and they want to impose international law, I think that's when we have a place to speak up. But
yeah, well, the student involved, both students involved happen to be American students. They're just attending a school that's in Canada.
Students, if they're attending Canadian colleges, is it the Canadian college that's demanding that they make this apology?
No, it's a fellow student. It's an interpersonal conflict, Neil, and the reason that I use the story anyway is because what you have here is the same type of situation that goes on in our country on a daily basis. You have people that want to send a little picture out and say, hey, this is funny. Did you see this? And there's a lot of stuff that floats around the web that depicts the president in disrespectful ways that I find absolutely disgusting. I found some guy in my Google Circle last night that has flooded my Google Circle feed with all these, like he's a zombie from The Walking Dead, and so he has zombie teeth, and he's like there's blood dripping off his, and that's disgusting to me. I just knock that stuff out of my feed. I don't let him back in. He's just gone. He's no longer a fan of mine. I don't have any stomach for that personally. But at the same time, I'm not one that thinks that any leader is totally free of criticism. And, if you're going to criticize somebody, if you can do it with humor. And one of the things I loved about President Bush, and there were things that I disagreed with him on, but one of the things I loved about him is that there were often times when he would understand people's disagreements with him, and he would poke fun at himself in a way that communicated to them that he understood what their objections were. And you know what it did more times than not? It disarmed the tension. My friend Governor Huckabee does that all the time. Somebody gets really wound up about something, and they're just really going, and he'll crack a joke, and it just lets all the pressure out of the sore. And then you're free to have a discussion about what it is that you truly disagree on. See, I happen to think that irony and all forms of humor that are used in the political circle are actually okay, as long as you're not actually wishing harm on the person that you're poking the fun at. Now, maybe I'm completely wrong on that. You can set me straight if you think I am. 888-589-8840. Let's talk to Christopher in Virginia. Hi, Christopher. You're on with Calvin McCullough. So glad you're here.
Hi. I disagree with what you're saying about...
Okay, explain why.
Okay, first of all, first remember seeing this GIF back a few years ago when we killed bin Laden, and I think that it's not that it's being shoehorned into microaggression, whatever that is, because of the hyper-competitive nature that students are facing nowadays in order to compete for slots and try to get ahead.
So do you believe, just quickly, Christopher, I'm trying to cut to the chase because we're short on time, do you believe this student should have pronounced an apology for using that GIF in a student newspaper?
No, I don't. I think that it was that the student who reported him was just a personal vendetta. It was between them and this.
So where are you disagreeing with me at? I'm not following where your disagreement is.
I disagree that this is a large issue.
Oh,
I think this
I can already demonstrate. I could go and demonstrate for you case after case of people with a hair trigger reaction that believe that you should be punished if you criticize the president. That I am not. I don't have any doubt of at all. But I read 40 to 60 newspapers a day. Christopher, you sound like a smart young kid. I hope you will call back at some point in time. We're out of time for today. Kevin McCullough, thanks for the conversation. You can continue it online at afatoday.com. That's our Facebook page, and we welcome the input there, afatoday.com. Kevin McCullough, if you haven't prayed yet, pray2014.com as well. Brian Fisher and Focal Point up next. Stay with us.